So, The Demon of Punjab has to possibly be my favorite episode this season, and granted, I've been pretty underwhelmed with most of the episodes this season. Maybe this was Chibnall's entire plan to put a bunch of underwhelming episodes in the beginning for the first half of the season, to sort of get our feet wet so that way we know all of our characters, and then the later half just blows us all away. And I'd be totally up for being surprised, if that's the direction he wants to go. I think that's a really great way to do it. Demons of the Punjab sort of takes everything I liked about Rosa, which is mostly the last few minutes on the bus, and makes an entire episode about it. And the problem I had with Rosa, at the core of it, outside of my issues with how it's presented historically, was definitely the fact of this weird, racist, time-traveling dude from the far, far future. It was like, did we really need him? Did we? We didn't. I don't think we did. Demons of the Punjab sort of totally goes away with that. As a matter of fact, it seeks to subvert it with the Thagarians. The Thagarians are effectively a red herring for us, the audience. Like, oh, how are they going to mess with us? Are they behind the Partition of India? Like, no, they really have nothing to do with it. The Doctor thinks they're like, oh, I don't know what you're doing, but it stops here. You killed a man. Turns out they didn't kill a man. Their whole purpose is to watch people who will die alone. And that I felt was really cool. They're time travelers with a different angle. So one could view them like testimony, but testimony makes a record of them. And so that way people can access them, the last thoughts and moments of their loved ones. They don't do that here. They sort of effectively just make time memorials, if you want to argue that, or just sort of data records. And that's fun. And because as far as we know, they don't talk, you can't interact with them. So they're just sort of memorials. And that's cool. I'm not quite sure about the design. It feels a bit over the top to go that direction. I sort of felt like they truly were designed to just throw you off. You were expecting them to have a bigger role for the Doctor to stop, but the episode says, no. Why would you think we would do that? We're not going to do that. Coming up to our characters, Yaz is put center stage here. She has a lot to do. I think I was expecting too much from Yaz. In the beginning, I think I was expecting her police officer life to play a bigger role. It doesn't. Her family life seems to be the real driving force. I think family is going to be the real theme of this season, although more than likely everyone else has already guessed that. I'm a slow mover. But here, her finding out the truth about her grandmother's life, that she had an entire life before she met her grandfather, I think was a really great moment. Yaz has to sort of come to terms with that, and that provides something else for the best actor here, Graham, to just sort of play off. Well, maybe not best actor, but he's definitely been the best character. He's been the most consistent over these episodes. And he does sort of take on a more grandfatherly approach to everyone. He plays off of everyone so well, whether it be Yaz, whether it be the Doctor, whether it be Ryan, whether it be Prem. He plays off of them really well. Umbreen and Prem and Manish, I think all three of them were equally great. Umbreen comes off as not over the top forward thinking. She is very into her family's customs, but she's also wants to break out and do something on her own. And that can come off as very cliche, but I think Umbreen hits the right amount of, forward thinking and traditional in the right way. Manish, I felt, was a really great character, hitting this sort of conservative point of view, this sort of amount of bigotry, really. I think that's sort of the right word for it. The fact that, Prem keeps trying to reach his brother, keeps trying to pull him back, and at one point even saying, I don't recognize my little brother anymore. And then we're just sort of going, well, he just changed. Like, it's not so much as just changed. I think this has always been who Manish was, but there was never any reason to change it until now. Prem, I didn't quite know how to feel about Prem. Prem just sort of felt like he was sort of going back and forth between being a sort of jokester and then being very serious. And it sort of worked. But I'm not quite sure. I think Prem was still a great character, though. And it was a shame, and it was actually really, really awesome, I think, from a time travel perspective, that they have to let him die. They have to turn their back. And I think some people were like, well, the Doctor could take him away. Some were like, well, no. Here, we expect him to what? To totally accept he has to die so this strange girl can live? that constrained girl being Yaz, history might not even work that way. Yaz might just be born a few years earlier. If they do that, if Prem goes back and hangs out with Umbreen, it does change history to be sure, but it might just be the harmless little blip. Yaz might not be born, but what does that really do to the quote-unquote web of time? We don't quite know, because that's sort of the reason why we can't change it, because we don't know. Anything could happen. Remember what the Ninth Doctor said: the most dangerous thing is an ordinary man who gets to live when he's not supposed to. He can totally change the timeline, and Prem could do that. So they have to turn his back. And that was also a really cool thing about Rosa, when Graham's like, I don't want to be part of this, and Doc's like, we have to be part of it. We have to be part of history. We have to make sure this happens. And here they have to let Prem be killed. It all really made for some really great stuff. And Umbreen in the present day Umbreen, I think, is really amazing because of it, because she's been able to compartmentalize this part of her life so well. And it's something she's not ready to talk about. And Yaz, understanding that, sort of says, whenever you're ready to tell me, you can tell me. Although it sort of comes up the question as to exactly why Umbreen hasn't remembered, Yaz. But then again, Yaz might be the smallest blip on her radar for that day. I mean, she definitely might remember the Doctor, though. And it should be noted that I don't think the Doctor and Umbreen have met in the present day. So who knows what'll come from that. Or Graham. Or Ryan. Who knows? Anyway, with that in mind, I really like this episode. I've been waiting to find an episode I'd really like. Didn't really like the Doctor in this one. Didn't hate the Doctor, but Doctor didn't blow me away this episode. So, yeah, if you like this episode, love to hear your thoughts on it. Was it as good as I think it is? Or am I missing something? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I will catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. May your fandom serve you well.